That is philosophy of Charles Bradlaugh against God, the atheist who fought law, church and fear. Charles Bradlaugh was born in 1833 in Hoxton, a poor district of London. His father worked as a clerk for a solicitor. His family was not powerful or wealthy. Religion, however, was powerful all around him. The Church of England shaped law, education, and respectability. To be respectable was to be religious. As a boy, Bradlaugh was serious about faith. He attended church. He became a Sunday school teacher. He studied the Bible with care. He did not begin as a rebel. He began as a believer who read too carefully. While preparing for confirmation, he compared what the church taught with what the Bible actually said. He noticed that some doctrines did not match the text. He saw contradictions and tensions. He did what an honest mind does. He asked questions. He wrote to his vicar, John Graham Packer, asking for explanations. He expected answers. He received suspicion. Instead of being praised for careful reading, he was treated as dangerous. His questions were seen as disloyalty, not as a search for truth. The reaction at home was harsh. Pressure increased. He was told to submit to belief or face consequences. He refused to pretend. He refused to say he believed what he did not believe. As a teenager, he was forced out of his home. This early break is the first key to his philosophy. He chose conscience over comfort. He chose honesty over obedience. He learned that institutions often punish questions rather than answer them. After leaving home, he found support in radical circles. He stayed with Eliza Sharples Carlyle, connected to the free thought tradition of Richard Carlile and Thomas Paine. In that environment, he met people who challenged church power, monarchy, and censorship. He discovered a different moral world. In that world, loyalty was not to dogma but to truth. Bradlaugh continued his self-education. He read widely in history, politics, and philosophy. He trained himself as a speaker and writer. He began to lecture under the name iconoclast, meaning breaker of idols. The idols he attacked were not statues. They were ideas that people were afraid to question. He did not want to live from donations. He joined the army and served in the 7th Dragoon Guards. He spent time in Ireland and saw poverty and injustice. He saw that religion was not the only power. There were landlords, empires, and economic systems that shaped people's lives. This experience deepened his political awareness. After leaving the army, he returned to London and worked again as a clerk. At the same time, he wrote and lectured for the Free Thought movement. He became associated with the National Reformer, a radical weekly paper. Soon he became its main editor and voice. Through this paper, he attacked religious privilege, monarchy, and social injustice. In 1866, he helped found the National Secular Society. This was a turning point. Bradlaugh did not want atheism to remain a private doubt. He wanted a public movement. He wanted secularism as a political principle. For Bradlaugh, secularism meant that the state should not enforce religion. No church should have legal privilege. No citizen should be excluded from rights because of belief or unbelief. The law should protect people, not beliefs. The state should belong to all, not to one faith. His atheism was clear and direct. He rejected the existence of God, miracles, and divine revelation. But his atheism was not just a statement about reality. It was a moral and political position. He argued that morality does not come from God. It comes from human needs and human relationships. He said that we must judge actions by their effects on real people. If a belief causes cruelty, it is not moral, even if it claims divine authority. If a belief reduces suffering and increases justice, it is moral, even if it has no religious label. He separated goodness from God. He insisted that ethics must be based on evidence, empathy, and consequences in this world. Bradlaugh saw how religion was used to justify power. In Victorian Britain, the Church of England had legal and social advantages. Blasphemy laws protected Christian doctrine from open attack. Religious oaths were required for public office and court testimony. Churches influenced education and public morality. He opposed this system. He believed that no one should be forced to swear by a God they do not believe in. He believed that no one should be punished for disbelief. He believed that no church should be backed by the state. His philosophy can be seen as three connected pillars. First, atheism, no belief without evidence. Second, secularism, no religious privilege in law. Third, freedom of conscience, no punishment for honest belief or unbelief. The most famous test of these principles came with his election to Parliament. In 1880, Bradlaugh was elected as Member of Parliament for Northampton. He ran as a radical liberal, supporting land reform, Republican ideas, and secularism. But to take his seat, he had to go through a formal procedure. He had to swear a religious oath ending with the words "So help me God." Bradlaugh was an open atheist. He did not believe in God. He did not want to swear an oath that invoked a deity he rejected. He asked to affirm instead of swearing. The law allowed affirmations in some cases, for people like Quakers who had religious objections to oaths. Bradlaugh argued that, as an atheist, he should also be allowed to affirm. The House of Commons refused. They insisted that he must swear the religious oath or stay out. Bradlaugh refused to lie. He refused to use religious language as a hollow formality. For him, honesty about belief was part of moral integrity. The conflict became intense. He was denied his seat. He was physically removed from the chamber. He was fined for voting without having taken the oath. At one point, he was held in custody within the precincts of Parliament. The voters of Northampton did not abandon him. They re-elected him again and again. Each time, the same conflict returned. The people chose him. Parliament blocked him. This struggle lasted several years. It was not only about one man's pride. It was about a principle. Can an atheist be a full citizen without pretending belief? Can the law respect conscience even when it rejects religion? Over time, public opinion shifted. The pressure grew. In 1886, Bradlaugh was finally allowed to take the oath and sit as an MP. In 1888, the Oaths Act changed the law. It allowed members of Parliament and witnesses in court to affirm instead of swearing a religious oath. Bradlaugh's personal battle produced a structural reform. He turned his own exclusion into a wider protection for others. This episode shows a central feature of his philosophy. Conscience is more important than ritual. Honesty is more important than conformity. The law must adapt to truth, not force people to lie. Bradlaugh's fight for freedom did not stop at oaths. He was also a strong defender of freedom of speech and access to information. In the 1870s, he worked closely with Annie Besant, a powerful speaker and writer. Together, they challenged one of the most sensitive topics in Victorian society. They defended the right to publish information about birth control. A small American pamphlet called Fruits of Philosophy by Charles Knowlton gave practical advice on contraception. In Britain, it was treated as obscene. When a bookseller was punished for selling it, Bradlaugh and Besant decided to act openly. They republished the pamphlet under their own names and sold it widely. They were arrested and put on trial for publishing an obscene work. Religious groups attacked them. Respectable society was scandalized. But Bradlaugh and Besant argued that information about birth control was not obscenity. They said it was a tool to reduce poverty, suffering, and unwanted pregnancies. They argued that the real immorality was forcing poor families to have more children than they could support. They were convicted at first, but the conviction was later overturned on a technical point. The trial, however, had already exposed the issue. It showed how laws that claimed to protect morality were used to block knowledge. It showed how religious and social authorities tried to control bodies and choices by controlling information. This case reveals another layer of Bradlaugh's thought. He believed that control over knowledge is a form of power. He believed that authorities often use censorship to keep people dependent and obedient. For him, freedom of speech was not just a legal right. It was a condition for rational morality. Without access to information, people cannot make responsible decisions. Without the right to question, people cannot form honest beliefs. Bradlaugh's ethics can be summarized in simple terms. There is no divine judge to fix our mistakes. There is no afterlife to compensate for injustice. Therefore, we must take responsibility for justice in this life. We cannot excuse cruelty by saying it is God's will. We cannot postpone justice to another world. We must act here and now. He argued that unbelief has brought real benefits to humanity. In his essay Humanity's Gain from Unbelief, he claimed that as societies move away from rigid religious systems, they often become less cruel and more open to reform. He pointed to the decline of religious persecution and the weakening of priestly power as gains from skepticism. He saw the growth of science and critical thinking as part of this gain. For Bradlaugh, unbelief is not a loss of meaning. It is a release from fear. It is the removal of chains. It is the chance to build morality on human needs and human evidence. He was involved in many other radical causes. He supported Republican ideas and criticized the monarchy. He argued for land reform and supported the rights of workers. He supported Irish nationalists, though he rejected violent methods. He argued for universal, secular education, free from church control. Later in life, after years in Parliament, he became more cautious about some radical economic ideas. He opposed socialism, fearing that it might replace one form of authority with another. Some saw this as a conservative turn. But even then, his core principle remained the same. No authority, religious or political, should be beyond criticism. Bradlaugh died in 1891 while still serving as MP for Northampton. He remained president and symbol of the National Secular Society. His funeral drew large crowds. For many, he represented courage against powerful institutions. He showed that one person, armed with reason and persistence, could force the state to recognize the rights of unbelievers. What does Charles Bradlaugh mean for us today? His message is not just that God does not exist. His message is deeper and more demanding. He teaches that belief should never be accepted only because it is inherited. It should be examined. He teaches that morality should not be outsourced to a book or a priest. It should be grounded in real human consequences. He teaches that the state should not belong to one religion. It should belong to all citizens equally. He teaches that conscience should not be forced to speak words it does not believe. It should be free to be honest, even when honesty is costly. He teaches that censorship in the name of morality is dangerous. People need knowledge to make responsible choices. He teaches that tradition is not a proof of truth. Age does not guarantee justice. Only the effects of ideas on real lives can justify them. Bradlaugh's life is a message to anyone who doubts in a world that punishes doubt. Your questions are not a sin. Your conscience is not a crime. Your unbelief can be a force for freedom. This is the philosophy of Charles Bradlaugh. A mind that refused to kneel before invisible authority. A conscience that refused to swear by a God it did not accept. A voice that turned atheism from a private suspicion into a public challenge. A call to live without fear of hell, without bribery of heaven, and without surrendering your intelligence to any power that demands blind obedience. A call to live with evidence, with honesty, with responsibility, and with your own clear and independent reason.